thank you so much for joining us today, Bella. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
You're the first of our interviewees in our series, Rebel Women, a playbook for your career in health and safety. And I invited you here today because you're fairly early career, and also you were kind enough to say that you would test it out with me. So you're the very first. So thank you so much. We're melting today. How is it where you are, and where are you?
Yes, very hot up here as well. I'm based in Cleethorpes, so northeast of the UK, and I think it's about 32 degrees outside.
32. Wow. I was feeling
Yeah.
very smug earlier in the week because I'm in Ramsgate and there was a lovely breeze. And I was thinking, oh, we're not going to get this heat wave like everybody else. But today there's no breeze at all. So it's really melty. But there's still people on the beach, which is a bit nuts.
I'm sure there will be in Cleethorpes as well.
Oh, you've got a beach in
We,
Cleethorpes.
yeah, we have. We've got a lovely
Wonderful.
beach.
Okay, so I've explained that the objective of the book is to provide women with sort of pathways into the profession and then ideas about how to progress your career. So, some of the challenges and the opportunities, some of the things that have helped you. And so, could you please tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell me about your current role and how you found your way into health and safety. Because, like many health and safety people, it was kind of a bit of an accident, wasn't it?
It was absolutely. So I'm currently with RWE Renewables, and I work specifically in the offshore wind industry. I've been with RWE now for 2.5 years, and it's absolutely flown by. Um, Before that, I actually worked in HSE at the local authority. So I was working for North East Lincolnshire Council, and that was my first full-time job after leaving university. So I shall have to get the years correct on this. I think it was 2019 I started there. It was the year before
So,
COVID.
just pre COVID.
Pre-COVID, yeah. So I had finished university. When I was at university, I was over in Liverpool and I studied sports management and development. So completely unrelated to what I'm doing now. And I was very lucky to have a job over there working for Everton Football Club. So I worked as a mental health research analyst, and the aim of that was how we could use sport to enable children to talk about mental health. So it's a super
Oh,
rewarding part of my
mm.
degree. I really enjoyed that. But when I graduated university in the July, kind of had a bit of a reality hit, if you like, because I didn't know what I was going to be doing afterwards. I had the opportunity to stay on at Everton Football Club, but without the student loan financially, it was a difficult decision to make. So I decided to come back home to Cleethorpes and see where life would take me. I did have a couple of part-time jobs which would keep me going for a couple of months. I knew I had that security. But I ended up stumbling across a graduate programme at North East Lincolnshire Council. So the original one that I applied for was in procurement. And in my head, I
Aha.
thought, I kind of links to business. Can link parts of my degree within that. And it was the only thing I applied for, and I kind of had my heart set on it. So went for the interview, felt like it went really well and had some good feedback from it. But they'd said they actually thought I'd be better off applying for a different graduate scheme, which was the HSE one, so Health, Safety and Environment. And at first it threw me off a little bit, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really know what health, safety, environment was, what the job entailed. But they just said having a sport and an active background, they thought I'd be better suited in a role that wasn't at a desk all day. So at that point, I thought, we'll give it a go. They offered to pay for qualifications, and then that was in the August, I think, and I started in the September. So straight in,
Fantastic.
yeah.
So, what did that even look like, a graduate training scheme? Were you doing a degree at the same time? Was it like an apprenticeship? I don't know. What does it look
No,
like?
so the team at North East Links Council really took a huge chance on taking me on, really, because the intention of that graduate scheme was that you would have a degree in health and safety,
Ah,
and they hadn't found somebody for that role. So I guess it's the transferable skills that I learnt at uni. They said if you're willing to do your NEBOSH qualification and a
Ah,
level
okay.
3 safety technician apprenticeship alongside the job, then we're happy to take you on. So I thought, let's give it a go.
Wow, okay. And thinking back to when you started, obviously you didn't even know what health, safety, and environment really entailed.
No,
What has surprised you most about your career to date, or what has surprised you most about being in health and safety?
I think the thing that surprised me the most, and probably the thing that I enjoy the most, is the beauty of health and safety being able to work with every single department in any industry that you go into. So, looking back at when I was going for that procurement role, yes, you work with a few different departments in procurement, but I've really seen that in HSE that every single day is different for me. I can speak to such a vast array of people, and being a people person, that's the best part of my job.
Wow, that is so interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, I've kind of been part of the profession for 35 years. And when I first started, it wasn't so much a people profession as a technical profession. So that's been a big
Mhm.
shift, hasn't it? So,
Yes.
uh, what's been harder than you expected, would you say?
I think one of the biggest challenges I faced, and this isn't a reflection on any of the companies that I've worked for, I think it's more just on myself, is that pressure I put on myself to know every technical aspect of the job. So if I'm advising people on technical safety or like with the technicians on the turbines, I'm not trained as a technician or an engineer, but
Mm.
something that I've learned through speaking to my manager about this is it's not always about the technicalities and understanding, it's knowing who the right people are to go to find out the information. There's a lot of problem solving within the job, and I'm very lucky in the team that I work in now and previously. I've got such fantastic support from the team on site, central HSE team, and my manager that that pressure is slowly getting rid of it to understand that health and safety is much more of a people profession. I believe so anyway, as opposed to knowing the ins and outs of every technical aspect to a job.
That really rings a bell because last week I interviewed Daniel Hamadal, who's written a book called Safety Conversations. And
Hmm.
he said pretty much exactly that. And he said, he was going into all these environments where he didn't really understand the job. And he said, they're the experts. I'm not the
Yeah,
expert. I'm just there to kind of facilitate, to work out with them how they can do that in the safest possible way. And he said, I can't do it without their knowledge. That's really
absolutely.
interesting. That's the biggest challenge for you. So would you say that how have you dealt with it? You said you've had some support. So your managers have
Yeah,
said to you that, this is how you find the right person. But how
yeah.
else do you deal with it?
Well, we're very lucky as well at the site that I'm at the moment. We have a development coach that comes onto site and we have one-to-one sessions with them. So it was within those first few sessions when I first started with RWE that I kind of realised that I was actually thinking that way and I was putting that pressure on myself to feel that I needed to know everything, that I needed to know the answer to everything there and then. Um, and I can remember the coach just said to me, "Why do you feel that way?" And it kind of took me back a little bit. He said, "Who's telling you that you need to know everything straight away? And who's telling you that you need to be degree level in every aspect of your job?" I just kind of sat there and thought, he's got a point actually. No one has told me that. I've just put this pressure on myself. And if anything, everybody was telling me that I didn't need that. So I don't know where that pressure had come from. Um, but like I said, I'd started with this company 2.5 years ago, which is when I first had those development sessions. And I had a recap one a couple of months ago to understand where I was at now. And there's some graphs and stuff and psychological assessments that they do to understand where you are at as a person. And our coach had said that the confidence and development they'd seen within those graphs has really grown within the 2.5 years, which is lovely
That is
and definitely.
amazing. That's yeah. I'm really really gratified to hear that. I mean, when I first met you, I thought you were really impressive, and I know that you're
Thank you.
I guess is your ultimate. boss is Brad
Yeah,
Petman, and I know he's an amazing people developer. That's the kind of way that I
yeah,
see
he
him
is.
anyway, is like he's just an amazing guy, really good health and safety professional. And I'm interested to know, because I kind of know a little bit about your environment, and this development coach sounds absolutely fantastic to actually have access to that. Um,
Yeah.
and you obviously, I know you've got Brad and you've got a really good team around you, but looking at your experience so far, what do you think creates the conditions for someone to succeed in health and safety? Because I do find a lot of people are not as fortunate, and they'll come and they'll say,
Yeah.
I'm butting my head and I don't know where to go next. And so I guess what I'm going to be asking everyone is, what do you think creates the conditions? So let me know, what do you think?
I think it's a good question. That I think there's two elements to it. That I'm very fortunate in the company that I work for, that I've got a lot of access to support networks, development opportunities, specifically as a woman in health and safety as well. That there are challenges of just being a woman in today's day and age anyway. Um, but specifically working for RWE, there are so many networks and opportunities for us to meet other people within the industry. So on Tuesday this week, actually, I attended RWE's Women in Engineering Day. So they hosted a full day specifically for people within our industry. And we had some keynote speakers talking about resilience. We was able to get together and talk about the challenges we were having, share our stories, and I think there was about 50 to 100 people in the room. And I did have a couple of moments of self-reflection when I was there, thinking, as if this is my job, and as if I'm here today, being able to speak to all these truly
Yeah,
phenomenal women in all
yeah.
different parts of the industry, and we can all relate to a lot of things and just able to understand each other. I think it's so important that we get the opportunity to do that. And the fact that I was able to do that on a work day speaks volumes of how RWE is a company in terms of making sure that everybody feels valued and comfortable. But then I do think there's an element from a personal perspective as well. And I don't think it's something that I see as much anymore in my role at all. Um, but I guess it's just the get up and go of there is going to be challenges in life in all aspects. I think having a good work life balance is a huge thing. And I know we've spoken about this before, but using self reflection is a bit of a superpower, if you like. Um, Again, that was something that I learned in this role of it's totally okay at the end of the day to look back and go, okay, these are things that I might have done differently. But it's that shift in mindset of I used to do that and go, what went wrong today? So just a small little mindset change of something I learnt with the development coach of not to look at everything negatively.
Mhm.
So I'm usually a very, very positive person, but within my own head,
Mhm.
I'm very critical and can think, well, why did that go that way? And why did you say that? And etc. So at the end of the day now, it's become part of my full routine when I get into bed of thinking, okay, what are two things that went really well today? And what's one thing that you do differently? It's something that I never thought I would have done. It's one of them things you think, oh, yeah, I'll give that a go. And after night three, you completely forget to do it again. But I've found that really helps me. And hopefully, by sharing that out, other people can do that and get the benefit from it too.
Fantastic. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. So, would you say, obviously, you've referred to being at the Women in Engineering Day, and
Mhm.
it's great to see be around a load of other women in a similar profession. So, I guess I'm sort of asking, do you think there are specific challenges for women in health and safety, or do you think they are just the challenges that any woman in business faces or women in professional life faces?
I think it's across the board. I don't think it's necessary, well, in my experience anyway, I don't think it's necessarily just health and safety. I think women can face a whole host of different challenges every day for a lot of different reasons. I'm very lucky that in the place that I'm in now, I'm not experiencing those. I think working in a male dominated team, both on site and within the HSE team, I never feel that it's male dominated. So I'm never at team events thinking, oh, I'm one of the few females here. I just feel part of the team. And I think that's because of the way that the team is as well, that the males don't see me any differently just because I'm a female within the industry. I think if anything, they will come to me for specific things if it's around attention to detail, checking something over, my opinion on something. I know that the team have said, I've specifically come to you, Bella, because how valued my opinion is, which is really lovely.
Really lovely, yeah.
Um, but I think within our team at the moment, I was speaking to Brad about this the other day, I think we're about 35% female, which you don't get in a lot of industries, specifically for health and safety and in
Yeah,
offshore wind. It's quite rare.
yeah. Thank you. So it sounds like you've found a really great niche for yourself. Tell me about
Yeah.
a moment that made you think this is the right career for me, or perhaps a moment you're really proud of.
I think the first time I went offshore, I was quite scared before doing that. And, I'm climbing on the outer of the turbine thinking, what on earth am I doing? Why have I taken this? Um, and then just getting on the turbine was just a feeling that I've not experienced before. It was so surreal, seeing how large it is. And I just thought, yeah, this is what I want to be doing. Something a little bit out there, a little bit different. Um, but then on the flip side, the people side of it, like I've mentioned at the start, is my favourite thing about the job. Speaking to so many different people from all over the world every single day is such a luxury to be able to do within my job. But my favourite part of the role, which isn't specifically health and safety related, is supervising the apprentices that we've got at RWE. So it's specifically the HSE apprentices, and there's a group of 5 of them at the moment. One of them's just been successful in taking an advisor role, which is fantastic to see. But I'll have regular catch-ups with them and go through qualification needs, but also things that might be going on in and outside of work, challenges they're having, just general career pathway advice. And I've built up some really good relationships with every single one of them, and it's a really rewarding part of the job.
I mean, it sounds like it's a really good fit for you and both the organisations that you've been with. Actually, I mean,
Yeah,
It sounds like you've been obviously you've put yourself into it. As you said, you've got some get up and go, and you're self-reflective, and you want to do a
yeah.
really good job. But what advice would you give another woman who wanted to enter health and safety as a career?
Mhm.
What would you say would give as your nugget of gold?
I think my nugget of gold, I like that. I I think it would be to go in with confidence and not have in the back of the head that it is going to be negative because you're a female. I think go in with that confidence that you've been appointed for the role because you're the right person for that role. It really doesn't matter whether what gender you are. It's you've been appointed for that role for a reason, and the organisation want you in that position for a reason. So go and make the most out of it and do the best job that you can.
And is there anything you'd like to see change for women entering the profession over the next 10 years? Or has your experience been so positive that actually difficult to see?
Well, I think I've spoken very positively around my experience, but there definitely has been negative sides to it that aren't specifically relating to any company that I've worked for. Um, it's more in like external training that I've taken part of, where I've been the only female in the room, and the trainer has made that very clear and constantly referred to. Like one of them said, "Oh, sorry, Bella, I forgot you were here," and you think, "Oh,
Oh, nice,
what did you
nice.
forget? The blokes were here as well." Like,
Yeah.
so I think after that there was a few comments and things said, and I spoke to my manager about it, and I had a phenomenal amount of support for that. That there were times where I was thinking, should I say anything? It's not emotionally affected me, but it could emotionally affect another woman if they were in that scenario. And going back to the apprentices, the reason that I did say something was for them and for the future females that may have been put in that scenario of feeling uncomfortable had I have not
Mm,
said anything. So I guess that's another bit of advice for women is that you know when things aren't right and
mm.
when things shouldn't have been said, and not to be afraid to say anything because you should be able to get that support and help. And I'm more than happy to have any conversation with anybody that's maybe been through that if they just want an ear for somebody to listen to or to have a rant, to have a coffee and a chat about it. It's unfortunate. I think a lot of women get it. Um, but hopefully moving forward, that's something that will slowly disappear.
Anything I haven't asked you, Bella, that you'd like to have said on this podcast?
I think I can leave it on my last little note, and this is how I leave conversations with the work experiences that we have on site as well, is women can do it and we can do it well, so we should do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being part of this project. Really, really appreciate it. And particularly thank you for being the first one and bearing with me. And I'm just so impressed with you. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bella. Have a lovely
Thank you so
weekend.
much for having me. Thank you very much. You too.